while we chat with Blake, if you guys who's watching want to send us a message, send Blake a message, ask him any questions, type them away, and then I will relay them on to Blake. So Blake, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
I'm good. Yeah, thanks for watching.
Did you watch the movie together with us?
I did, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think Kaylee's your wife, right?
Yeah, that's
I
my
think
wife.
I saw her that she was online. So
Yeah.
listen, I'm just going to say this before we jump into the questions. And we've got, you probably saw some of the comments coming up there, and I know I felt it myself. I think for me, this movie is what I needed to see tonight.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was so good. Like, it just made me, I don't know, it just tugged on my heartstrings for so many good reasons. And it was like perfect. Thank you.
That's good to hear. Thanks so much.
Yeah. So, okay, where do we start? So, everyone that's joining, Blake Sovdi is the director of the film, Which Way is East? So, you and Jason Cowie, who was the other writer, you guys decided to take this trip as part of Canada's 150th year birthday celebration. That's how it came about?
Pretty much, yeah. We were trying to plan a trip across Canada during that time, and actually the year before, I think, is when we started planning it, and then we found out that the next year was 150, so it just kind of seemed perfect. And neither
Yeah.
of us traveled across Canada yet, so it seemed like the perfect way to do it.
And then when you went on it, did you go into it with the idea that you were going to make a movie out of it? Or you just thought, let me just record what's going to happen and then we'll see how it goes?
Yeah, that one's kind of hard because I met Cowie the year before, and I just started filming Cowie because he's a bit of a character. So I
Mm-hmm.
started filming him, and that's where all that footage came from. I was just gonna make like a little video about Cowie and his funky bikes and stuff, and then, but as I just kept filming, we became friends and stuff, and then we just started planning this trip. So it all just kind of rolled into one big video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so not really a total plan of what came out of it. It was kind of just random, but yeah.
And then so when you pieced it all together and ended up with the film, going into it, like, I mean, you don't know what the storyline is going to be,
Hmm.
right? And then when you finally got back home and you started putting it all together and editing it, how did the story come out? Like, how did you pull it out? And yeah.
Yeah, that was actually probably the harder part of it. That's why it came out like 2 years after the trip, because it was hard for me to tell from my perspective. So what ended up happening, I was talking to my friend Bryce, and he kind of does the narration through it, and he
Okay.
kept telling about his perspective of the trip and stuff, and all the things that he thought was super funny. So I just brought him over to my apartment like a year later, and I was like, "Can you just talk to me about the trip?" And I
Hmm.
just asked him questions that I thought would kind of narrate and lay out the film board, and then once went from there. I just added that in there, and yeah, so I kind of built it off of what my friend's perspective of the trip was, because there was no storyboard and there was no plan or anything.
Right.
It was completely random.
Well, it was great. It ended up being great.
Yeah.
Like I said, we all loved it. Question for you. Did anybody get ticketed on the ride?
No, not a single
Nobody.
ticket.
Awesome.
Not pulled over once. Yeah, not even in Ontario or Quebec. Which that
That's amazing. That's
yeah,
amazing.
I had no speedometer after Manitoba when he was towing me. The tow strap broke at once, and it actually smashed my speedometer out. So I had no speedometer for the whole trip. So it's just kind of basing my speed off of Jason. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, we definitely weren't doing the speed limits for most of the trip, despite the little bikes. But yeah, no
Mm.
issues. Please.
At
Yeah.
the end of the movie, when you were sitting on the floor with the apple, you looked really broken down and disparaged at the time.
Yeah.
What was happening?
Well, it was a pretty crazy day. So the bike blew up. We had very limited funds. And what actually happened is when I went to go look at the van, I actually lost my debit card on that person's property. And someone on the property had taken it and rung up all these charges. So I had to call the bank and have the credit card or the debit card canceled. So they locked all my accounts.
Oh,
So the next
wow.
day when I went to go purchase the van, I wasn't able to take out any cash. I wasn't allowed to e-transfer anything. So when he was filming me there, we were kind of like the peak of stress. Like, how are we going to get home? Actually, my buddy who did the narration, he was talking about driving a truck from Edmonton to Blind River, Ontario to come pick us up because we didn't know how we were going to get home. But luckily, we found that van. So,
Wow.
yeah, kind of a low moment of the trip. The trip was amazing. It was super fun. Hopefully, everyone felt how fun it was. But that was a pretty tough day. It was a little stressful.
Amazing. So on the chat with us is one of the guys is Peter Redford, who him and his wife run this Toronto-based DIY garage. And one of the questions or one of the comments that he had is like, amazing job with the roadside mechanics. You guys have experience in that, or where did you get that
um,
knowledge?
a little bit. I was brand new to motorcycles. I have some experience from cars before. Cowie's been working them a lot longer, but a lot of the stuff that we had to fix, we were kind of learning. So Cowie had to change his cam chain while we were in Nova Scotia, and he had never changed a cam chain before, let alone in a campground in the middle of the night. So
Right.
that was kind of like a learning curve. I'd be filming on my phone, reading up forums and stuff. I'm like, I think you have to do this, and he was pulling the cam chain out, and then
Well, it was amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. And just to Peter, I don't know how I didn't mention Motor Revere. Motor Revere, Peter, good job, guys.
Hey,
So, also, while we were getting ready for this National Canadian Film Day and prepping for this screening, we also got in contact with Jason Cowie. And one of the things that he had mentioned on one of our posts was that filter that you used
that
that
was
you
it.
later washed it out and made coffee with it. Is that true?
No, I think he was pulling your leg a little bit. Never got that desperate.
But you know what? Guys have done worse. I've done worse. You know, dire needs. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Just wash it out really well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Um, so we've got another interesting question over here. I don't know if this question was for you or for me, but the question was, do you think that you or the bikes are the star of the film? That you guys or the bikes were the stars of the film? That's an
Well,
interesting question.
what do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
Well, definitely you guys. I think the bikes are what provided the interesting moments. So somebody else had mentioned on the chat that, you know, about all of these breakdowns happening. Um, and my perspective is that that's what makes it interesting. Like if everything went super smooth, it kind of would be a boring trip. But when you have these kind of issues, yeah, at that moment you might be going nuts. You know, you might have bloody knuckles from trying to wrench in the dark, or you know, you're stressed out because you can't make it to the next spot and it's getting late and maybe you can't find the parts, you know, that you need to be replaced. And so there's a lot of stress and pressure. But I think that in the end, like looking back, that's what makes everything so great. I think Blake, oh, hi, are you back? You back, Blake? Can't hear you. Blake? Hello. I can see you, but I can't hear you. Can't hear nothing. You can't hear me? Um, okay, let me check if it's on my end. Hang on. Let's do another test now. Can you hear me? No. Okay, let's try this. Can you hear me? No? No good? Okay. Anyone that's watching this, if you guys can hear me, can you just send a message below so I can see? I think we might have gotten frozen here. Oh, we got disconnected. Okay. Um, can anyone that's out there, if you can hear me, can you please just send a little message at the bottom so I can see, just confirm that my audio is working? Okay, great. Thank you, Adam, for confirming. Okay, let's see if we could get Blake back. Thanks, Jason. Let's see if we could get Blake back into our chat here. Thank you, everyone. While we're waiting, I'm just going to go through and see. Hey, we're back.
Hey,
there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
Okay.
Good, we're
awesome.
back. Yeah, sometimes there's hiccups, I guess, with Instagram. I'm just going back through the comments over here to see if we've got any additional questions. Let me ask you, once the movie came out and you guys completed it, what did you do with it? Did it tour any of the film festivals? What happened with it?
No, not really. I'm starting like a little YouTube page where I do some motorcycle stuff and some car things. So mostly it's just on there and kind of as like a memento for me to look back on. Yeah, if you guys want to check it out, it's on Sovdi Media's YouTube. So you can just go there and there's some other stuff on there too.
Okay, yeah. Great. Because one of the questions that we had was, can we buy the movie anywhere? So, and that was from Karen. So Karen, if you go to Blake's YouTube channel, Sovdi Media, you'll be able to see it there. I think it's chopped into 3 parts, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Awesome. Yeah. And what's next for you, Blake?
I'm not too sure. I just finished up a trip up north with some guys, and we did a winter ice road trip. I wasn't riding for that; I was just filming. Yep. It was 1,000 kilometers on ice roads from Fort McMurray to Fort Smith, Northwest Territories, and then back. So I just uploaded that I think last week. So that's on there too, and that's a pretty cool trip.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, were you riding
this year? No, I didn't ride on that one. No.
Okay.
No, but there might be some more coming that I'll see if I can ride and film.
Okay.
Sometimes it's kind of to do both.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay. And let's see, anybody else got any questions for Blake? Just waiting to see if anyone jumping in with anything. Okay, here's a question from Jason. Would you ever do a trip like this again, Blake?
Not on a KZ440. But yes, definitely would love to go across Canada again, for sure. Like the original destination was to go to Newfoundland, but because of how many breakdowns we had, we ran out of time. Like I think we lost over a week just heading east, just in breakdowns. So we never got to go to Newfoundland. I think Jason went back the next year and took his van and went, but I'd love to ride to Newfoundland. Yeah, for sure. And would you do it again with old bikes, or would you look for something more mechanically stable? I'm kind of leaning more towards like the off-road aspect now. And I think for me, having a really old bike riding out in the bush kind of sketches me out more than just being on the highway or something. Just, yeah, the remoteness, I don't want to be breaking down all the time. Right. So it's going to be something for my next bike, yeah. Right. And on the trip, what was your favorite part? As far as the riding concerned, definitely the Cabot Trail. That was amazing. Just, I don't know if anyone's ridden there before, but if you have the chance, you should go there. Yeah. It's awesome trip. Awesome. Beautiful. I never have. I would love to do that, or I will do that one day. But everyone that I know that has had a chance to do it, they've all raved how beautiful it is. And just seeing photos from there, it looks incredible. Yeah, and if you're in Nova Scotia, stop at the East Wallace Campground. It's a motorcycle-only campground, and you're not allowed in there with a car. It's just motorcycles. Really? Wow, that's so cool. Yeah. That's amazing. Anyway, Blake, thank you so much for allowing us to screen the film on National Canadian Film Day. As I mentioned at the top, for me, it was like perfect. It was exactly what I had needed this evening, so thanks for that. And thanks for participating in this Q&A chat.
Much appreciated.
No, thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Yeah, thanks
Sure, we'll stay in touch.